The long march to marriage equality, from Stonewall to the Supreme Court, the modern gay rights movement in the United States, began as a long, slow march, then picked up astonishing speed. Its apex, the Supreme Court ruling on Friday that the Constitution guarantees gay couples the right to marry across the country, came on the anniversaries of two pivotal decisions. Both were also written by Justice Anthony Kennedy. Lawrence v. Texas in 2003, which struck down criminal sodomy laws, and United States v. Windsor 2 years ago, which overturned the Federal Defense of Marriage Act. A third anniversary will be observed this weekend. On June 28, 1969, a police raid on the Stonewall Inn, a New York gay bar, touched off days of riots that galvanized gays and lesbians. Almost exactly 46 years later, outside the Supreme Court, an Ohio man named James Obergefell held up a photo of his late husband, John, and praised the justices for declaring that our love is equal. Then he took a congratulatory phone call from the president. Here is a history of what came between June 27 and 28-1970. On the anniversary of the Stonewall riots, the first gay pride parades are held in New York, Chicago, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. Fred Sargent, who was at the New York parade, reflected on the March years later in the Village Voice newspaper. It took a new sense of audacity and courage to take that giant step into the streets of Midtown Manhattan, he said. I stayed at the head of the march the entire way, and at one point, I climbed onto the base of a light pole and looked back. I was astonished. We stretched out as far as I could see, thousands of us. Pride events now are held worldwide every year. June 26, 2015, the Supreme Court, in Obergefell v. Hodges, rules that gay couples across the country have a constitutional right to marry. It would misunderstand these men and women to say they disrespect the idea of marriage. Kennedy writes, their plea is that they do respect it so deeply that they seek to find its fulfillment for themselves. Their hope is not to be condemned to live in loneliness, excluded from one of civilization's oldest institutions. They ask for equal dignity in the eyes of the law. The Constitution grants them that right.